so hang in there tight. And also this will be all recorded, so available for everyone. So welcome to our first webinar on V-Ray for SketchUp. My name is Dominic and I'm a BIM advisor at CADglobal. We specialize in BIM, CAD and rendering solutions, helping professionals like you to get the best tools for the best price. Before we start, I want to thank you all for joining today. Over the next three sessions, so next 3 weeks, we'll explore V-Ray in SketchUp. So starting with basics today. In the upcoming webinars, we'll dive into more advanced settings, lighting and rendering techniques. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. So let's get started with what is V-Ray. V-Ray is one of the most powerful rendering tool engines available, widely used in architecture, interior design and visualization. It allows you to create stunning photorealistic images with precise control of lighting, materials and rendering settings. It's basically the biggest rendering there is currently. Actually, D5 is coming along, but V-Ray is still one of the most used. The great thing about V-Ray is that it integrates seamlessly with many professional software tools like SketchUp, 3ds Max, from Autodesk, even Revit, Rhino, and much more. If you work on architectural projects, products, designs, or even animations, V-Ray can help you bring your ideas to life with ultra realistic renderings. If you want a lower realistic renderings, then use Enscape. It's more expensive, but it's much easier to use. So a key point to V-Ray, it is not a standalone software. It works as a plugin with programs like SketchUp. If you're using SketchUp Studio, you already have V-Ray included in the package. However, V-Ray is only available on a yearly subscription, so keep that in mind when you're considering options. So this is how V-Ray looks. We will take a look at inside of SketchUp also later. So before we jump to the demo, let's cover some key features about V-Ray. So hardware matters a lot here. The performance of V-Ray depends heavily on your GPU, CPU, and RAM. If you have a powerful graphics card, your renderings will be faster and better quality. So not a standalone program. As I mentioned earlier, V-Ray is a plugin, meaning you need software like SketchUp to use it. Trial versions are available. If you're new to V-Ray, you can start before purchasing and try it out. It's 30 days for now, but if you're using it with SketchUp, SketchUp is only 7 days trial, so watch out for that. So you have a SketchUp Studio discount also. SketchUp Studio is available at a discount. Also SketchUp Pro is available at the discount. This is a great way to get both SketchUp and V-Ray at the one subscription. It's 20% off, I think, now. If you're unsure about the best hardware configuration for running V-Ray smoothly, feel free to reach out to us at CADglobal and we will help you find the right setup. Okay, so in today's session we'll go through the basics of working with V-Ray inside of SketchUp. We'll have a brief introduction to the interface. We'll find the key tools. We'll see how to launch V-Ray and adjust the basic tools, import and apply materials, an overview of the asset editor and material library. The material library is a huge one, so let's jump into SketchUp and show you. Here we go. Now we are in SketchUp. When you load SketchUp, especially the new version 2025, you will have some new features like above that you can adjust with the lighting that they added. But it doesn't even get close to V-Ray, what V-Ray can do. So this toolbar up above, all the way to this end here, it's all V-Ray. You can launch the asset editor here. You're gonna use it a lot. This is like the main window of V-Ray. So here you can see some materials that you already have in your project. You can also see these materials here. if you go here, let's lower this down a little bit and go into in model. All the same materials are also here, so you can like manage your materials here if you don't want to manage them here. Now we don't have any materials in the project except this basic one. And here you can adjust the lighting. You can add HDR maps here. You can add custom sun orientations. You can just click here and add custom sun orientations if you don't want to use the custom sun orientations here from SketchUp. Next, we have some geometry editing. Here you can add grass, fur, end meshes, and ground textures to your materials. Next up, you can edit your own materials. And there you go, the last one is for the textures. Here we have options. Now these options may look intimidating, but if you put this back and put this up, they're quite simply put. Like the first one is just for rendering. Here you can just adjust the quality of your render. If you ever done rendering, progressive rendering is a little bit faster, but if you want the best results, if you're gonna leave it overnight, just put the progressive down. It's gonna get you best results over a longer time. So here you can choose CPU or GPU rendering. Now V-Ray loves to take up RAM. If you have tons of RAM, I'm gonna show you here. If you right click and open your task manager on your toolbar, on your Microsoft toolbar, and when you go into performance, here you can see your CPU, GPU, GPU. You can see dedicated RAM 12 gigabytes. Now if you go on to CPU, his memory, his dedicated RAM is actually this. Here says 64 gigabytes. So I have more RAM on my CPU than GPU, and V-Ray will use that very, very much. So definitely rendering with the CPU. If you have a beefy GPU, like a workstation, then select the GPU. But you can test this out. Make a simple render and test it out if the GPU or CPU is faster. It's gonna save you a tons of time later, especially if you're doing animations or some more renderings like that. So next up we have quality. Set it up for first like low plus. This is a preset of the quality that V-Ray and Chaos Studios already saved for us, so you don't have to go around and select all these parameters here. You can just select, okay, I need a lower quality render, select it on low, click render, and there you go, it starts rendering. If you go to medium or high, it's gonna take up tons of time. So if you render something on high plus that takes like a minute on low plus, it will take maybe an hour and a half an hour high. So watch out for that. That's also a big thing. And how to start render? It's pretty simple. So you go here. If you see this play sign over this spot, over this teapot, it will do an interactive render. If you don't see the sign, it will do just a render. So whatever you are seeing right now, it will take it as a photo and render it out. You also have a cloud rendering, and you also have exporting scenes, so you can save up scenes. But you can save scenes also here in SketchUp. If you go under scenes, you can just press here the plus sign. So if you have a model, you save up a few scenes. I'll show you later how you do that, and you just click on the scenes and render them. You can also batch export scenes, but it's not shown here. It's shown up here. Now this is a feature that not too many people actually know about. Here it is, the batch render. So if you have tons of scenes, let's create 2 scenes maybe, and you also have this included in animation. We will not do an animation now, we'll do it later. Have this here, click on batch render, and it will render up both of these scenes on the preset quality you set up here. So let's delete these. Okay, and you can see the batch render is grayed out now. This is a great way. You can just adjust one scene, adjust one photo, create 10 scenes maybe, export them and show them to your buyer to choose what scene they want. You don't have to do anything. You just put the materials in and there you go. Rest of these options we will go maybe later on in our webinar, but let's go down to the camera. Now this is a quite important one to set up an exposure. You can set it up to automatically right here. Click here and it will set up an automatic exposure. If you don't know how to play around with this, don't. Just leave it at automatic. It's creating great exposure for the time. And later on you can click here, light gen, if you're creating interior or exterior renders, and it will generate couple of views for you to choose, and it will preset the sun lighting, the exposure, and everything else, so the scene looks amazing for you. Also for the depth of field, if you know how to work with a camera, DLRS, it will it will be easy for you, but if you don't, you'll need to learn a little bit. So that's why V-Ray is a little bit difficult for starters. You need to learn tons of stuff to get into it. So render output, this is a huge one. Image, white and height. If you don't set up this correctly, your renders will take up time and time. Here is resolution in pixels. So if you're rendering for somebody who's using a phone, you can lower this down to their phone resolution, or somebody who's using a PC, you can double it up or use 4K. 4K will take a lot of time, but there you go. You have some standard uh, aspect ratios here also, and here you can click that you can save an image after you render it, or you can manually in the batch view. I will show that later. And this resumable rendering, this we will cover later in our webinar. Also animations. If you don't have a PC or you're rendering high resolution images, don't use this. It will take tons of time. For me, the longest animation I did was somewhere around 8 hours or so. It was just rotating around in showing from a few perspectives. So animation will be saved for a beefy PC, or if you lower the resolution down. It's great to play around with if you have a basic model. Environment, material override, and swarm will go later on in our webinar as we go. Okay, so let's jump into this next icon. This is an amazing one, Chaos Cosmos. This is a pretty new thing from Chaos Studios. Let's just skip this. They always do updates. So yesterday I booted this up and there was no update. Today there's a new update. So they are quite frequent with their updates. And now this browser, it's just like your 3D warehouse here, but much, much better. These are quite high quality stuff that they have. Let's try it out with a car. So you can download all of these for free if you have V-Ray and SketchUp Studio, because it comes with V-Ray. So let's put in this car in our model. Okay. Now you can see it's just white. Let's close this. It's white and it's kind of weird polymesh. You cannot see the correct render from your viewport in SketchUp. You need to open up a interactive render and see it in your frame buffer. Here you can open the frame buffer, but if we open it up right now, you will see it's only blank, it's nothing here. Now if we click, if we can close it now, and if we click on the render interactive, it can open up the buffer again and we can see our car in its full glory here. And you can see it's quite detailed. So if you go even inside the car, you can see it has tons of details. So Chaos Studios worked pretty hard on these libraries and they are updating them uh, all the time. And these interactive renders also use up the resolution that you set up here. So if you go render output, this resolution here, okay. And that's basically for the that we will cover for this time. Let's cover just a few more things. Materials. If you need materials, realistic materials, you can also search them here. Before they were here in the VRI asset editor. If you click here, materials will show up here. Now you can see you need to go into the Cosmos library, which is this one, and you can just search around for materials, you also have them here. Like, let's say concrete, you have thousands of concretes here, also for leathers, also for diagrammatic, for lighting and such. If you use 3D models from here for lighting, it's a great feature that they added. It automatically adds the lights. You have to go around and place the lights on your own. If you want to add lights on your own, you can do it from this tab here. So sphere light, Omni light, it's all up here. We'll cover that later. If you want to add 3D textures to your elements, you can add them here, or you can add some. This is for materials, and yeah, basically here. Here are the 3D elements. They changed it up a little bit. They always do a little bit of an update. Click. That's why Chaos is good. They are quite frequent with that. It's quite frequently. Okay, so if you want to do an import, let's do also that. Let's import a material and place it on an element. We can manage to do that also. Okay, it will say asset in progress, and if we go into materials, we can see it here, and we can also see it here if we open up our asset. Let's create a little block. Let's put it up like this, and let's paint it with our bricks. Now it doesn't look amazing, but again, if we click on the interactive rendering, we can go close up and see that it's brick material in SketchUp. And you can add 3D textures to this, so it looks even better. That's how you can start with your V-Ray. We won't fill you up with too much information on this webinar. That's why we have another webinar next week, and a week after that we will close up. Next we will try out some advanced features and show you some more about V-Ray. Now I'm gonna show you also what you can achieve in V-Ray. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them because we'll finish up the webinar quite soon. Okay, we'll open this one up. Now this is a quick scene I did. It's all done in SketchUp and V-Ray. And now if we click on the interactive, but just to adjust the size, it's too large, 720 maybe, yeah. And let's click on interactive. And now we can see how it renders it out. You can play with the sun, how it goes into your scene. You can play the HDR map, so what it shows on the windows, with the metals, how they are balanced and so on. So it's a great tool to have, and especially if you're buying SketchUp Studio, you have it for free. So let's get back to our presentation and finish it up. That wraps up our first webinar on V-Ray SketchUp. I hope you found this session helpful, and we'll continue with advanced settings with Lightning, understanding how the render settings work best for you and how to optimize performance so that it doesn't take 6 to 7 hours like it took for my animation. So SketchUp Studio is currently available at a discount and includes V-Ray as a part of the package. V-Ray is only available for yearly licenses, so if you're interested, now is the great time to get it. At CADglobal, we offer the best prices for V-Ray and other professional software. If you need any help choosing the right license or configuring your hardware for rendering, feel free to contact us. So if you don't have any questions, that will be all, and I would like to see you all next week in our next session where we'll cover advanced features of V-Ray. I will be in the chat for a couple more minutes, so if you have any questions, just feel free to ask them. So bye and see you next time.